Scream, directed by Wes Craven. This movie came out in '96 and it kind of redefined the horror genre. It kind of created a subgenre called the slasher film, which is where you have a serial killer going around, he's just slashing people left and right. Now, when it comes to Scream, I am familiar with the TV series that started in 2015. I watched the first two seasons on Netflix and the third season on VH1, and I enjoyed the series for what it was. But I've never seen the movies. Since they just released a new Scream movie this year, we're going to watch them on Halloween. Give my thoughts and my review on Scream, the first one. So we start off at a mansion. The first girl is Casey Becker, and she starts answering a bunch of phone calls from a stranger. She doesn't know who this person is, or why this person's there. She just wants to know why this person is calling her. At first, they have like a casual, back and forth until the killer starts telling her some information that wouldn't be possible if the killer was not there. She figures that the killer is in her house, and she decides to try to flee. However, what she does know is that the killer is chasing after her, and has also abducted her boyfriend. The killer wants her to play a game. If she gets the question right, she lives. Question wrong, she dies. It's like the game of Saw, except the Ghostface is not as merciful as John Kramer. What does Casey do? She gets the questions wrong, her boyfriend gets killed, and so does she. We fast forward into the present. Sidney Prescott and Neve Campbell. They receive word of what happened to Casey. Casey goes to the same school as them, and her friends are all kind of freaked out about it. You got Courtney Cox in the series, you got David Arquette, Matthew Lillard. This movie is kind of stacked with a lot of key actors. You got Drew Barrymore. So a lot of people, right? And her group of friends, they receive word about what's going on. Some people are spooked, some people are intrigued. So they decide to investigate what's going on. Sidney decides to investigate who this killer is and what the killer wants. Eventually, the killer has contact with her, and she's kind of creeped out about it, and it gets her some like PTSD effects. And she starts to realize that this goes back to her mother. Her mother was killed. She blamed the father. Is the father innocent, or is he the culprit? Who is Ghostface? Could it be one of her friends? That is the plot of the film. The movie's under 2 hours, and it's about the mystery of Ghostface and who is it, and what is Ghostface's motive. Now, I already knew who the killer was. It was Matthew Lillard. I think he played Stu. And there was another killer named Billy. So I kind of read the spoilers on the internet before I saw the movie. I knew Lillard was the killer, but I couldn't really figure out the second one until I kind of put the pieces together. So the killers were Billy and Matthew Lillard. Those were the two ghost faces. So what I like about the movie, I like the plot. It's interesting. What is the motive? How do we get to the finale? How do we get to the big reveal? Who's going to be picked off? When? Why are they being picked off? So I thought that was interesting. I like Ghostface. He has a knife. He just stabs people. He's brutal. I like that. The movie focuses on a lot of horror elements. You got blood, you got gore, you got lightning. Wes Craven, he's learned a lot from this movie than Swamp Thing. Those are the positives. Now, the negatives of this movie. It's really hard for me to watch movies like Scream because these characters aren't that likable. What I mean by that is there's a lot of stupid characters in this movie. In other shows and movies like this, like Slasher or Scream, the TV series, the characters that get killed off, they're just stupid. Like the first person in this movie, Casey Becker. Like the killer kept calling her 100 times she wouldn't put down the phone. Nor would she escape the house, she just stayed in there. And kept calling the killer. I'm like, put down the phone, leave the house. I didn't get it. There was a principal, Mr. Humphrey. He gets killed. He's stupid. He's afraid of his own reflection. Leave the school. How did the killer get into Casey's house? How did the killer get into the school? That didn't really make any sense. Same thing in the Scream, TV series. Lots of stupid characters in that show. At least in season 3, one guy brought a gun to Ghostface's face. One problem is he failed to pull the trigger. Ghostface is right there. Shoot the guy. The guy got scared. Same thing in Slasher. There's people that are just too stupid. They're in the wrong place at the wrong time. And they don't know what to do. There's two other types of characters that I hate. One is stupid. The other two is self-obsessed, always on their phone, worried about their social media page, and the killer shows up, surprise, you're dead. Then there's the bullies, the pricks, the jerks. They didn't like those people either. And the problem with those three types of characters is that you don't really make me root for the main characters. You make me root for the killer, Ghostface, or the slasher. Scream number 1, I was rooting for Ghostface the whole way. There were just a lot of characters that I couldn't get behind. Too many stupid characters. Too many characters self-obsessed. Too many bullies. I'm more of a fan of the character that fights back. When it has that edge. When it fights for the right thing. Sidney Prescott's the only likable character in this movie. Neve Campbell. I have to give her credit. She can fight. But as far as my thoughts on Scream goes, I thought it was pretty good. 8 out of 10. We'll see how the second, third, and fourth one go. I don't know how long they can carry on this Ghostface, story, but I thought Scream pretty much delivered in the time that it was in. Create a new subgenre of slasher films. So those are my thoughts on Scream.